I was thinking, like, I might not play football. Like, I'm like, no one's going to take me. No one's going to take me. And coaches stayed with me. They talked to me. I actually got my offer the day I got surgery on my shoulder. So I was like, okay, well, like, some more than football with them. Like, this felt like home. So I committed and stayed committed I think I was coming for like 8 months, something like that. Like, I knew where I was going.
You are listening to the Zen Game QB Show, and on this episode, I was joined by two special guests, Gio Lopez, quarterback at South Alabama, and his head coach, Major Applewhite, who had his own successful career as quarterback at Texas, and also as head coach of Houston before becoming the head coach at South Alabama. This conversation is such a special one to have because whenever you're able to talk to a person in their first season, when you know that they're going to have a super special career, is something that you cherish. And Gio had limited playing time as a redshirt freshman, had an incredible performance in South Alabama's first ever bowl win, but he took it to a new level this season after we had our conversation. He had the third best rushing grade in all of college football by Pro Football Focus. And to put that into context, the only two quarterbacks ahead of them were Army and Navy's quarterbacks that play in a triple option offense. So Gio Lopez was actually the best running quarterback according to Pro Football Focus, playing in any traditional offense. Gio had a really exceptional year passing too, throwing for 18 touchdowns, only throwing 5 interceptions, throwing for over 2,500 yards. This dude did it in every single way he possibly could have and took down one of the best teams in the conference in Louisiana in a major upset. So I hope you enjoy this conversation, getting to learn about Gio more as much as I did. If you want to hear more conversations with elite college football quarterbacks, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We pick back up with Major talking about two other incredible quarterbacks he coached, Greg Ward Jr. and D'Eriq King, and how Gio profiles very similar to these two elite players.
He's the same kind of like Greg, D'Eriq, Gio, you know, great families, great competitors, great athletes, great teammates. Everybody on the team loved Greg. Everybody on the team loved D'Eriq. Everybody on the team loves Gio. But at the end of the day, like all the attributes, the one thing that they all are is competitive, like real competitive. Didn't matter if you were playing, you know, cards. Didn't matter if you were playing, you know, if you were doing off-season drills and running around cones. I mean, it was serious. Every time they had a chance and they had an opponent, it got real. So I love that about our quarterbacks. I think it sets the tone for your offense and kind of everybody else's work expectations. Well, if this guy's this way, then I kind of have to be this way. And so, again, fortunate to have him.
When you know all their numbers, is a lot of that you want to make sure that your numbers are better at the end of the season than what they put together?
Oh, for me, it was just more like, okay, let me see what people have done with Coach Applewhite. And I was like, I can do that. I can do something more maybe. So, like, yeah, it's just kind of motivational. It's on my wall in my apartment. I look at it every day. I know D'Eriq King had 36 passing touchdowns, 14 rushing, threw for 29.86, ran for 6.74, something like that. So I know all of it. Yeah.
Like, so I wasn't going to make you fact check that you knew all that stuff, but you definitely completely off the top of your head know all that by heart. I think what's so cool about it is there's a lot of studies that are done that no one could run under 4 minutes in the mile. That a person runs under 4 minutes in the mile. A lot of guys start running under 4 minutes in the mile and then faster. There's actually something mentally about you keep those numbers up on your wall. It's a mental reminder to you that those have been done in Coach's offense. And not only can you hit those, but maybe there's a possibility that you can exceed them and set a new standard this year at USA.
Yeah.
If you do what you did in the bowl game for 12 games, that might not be that much of a challenge.
I love it. That's the competitive spirit, you know. I mean, somebody forgot to tell Roger Bannister that. You know, somebody forgot to tell Eric Dickerson after they said nobody could break 2,000 when OJ did it. You know, those type of people are special.
Next, we talk about how, in addition to having two incredible players to look up to from Major's system in Greg Ward Jr. and D'Eriq King, that Gio also had two incredible mentors at USA in Carter Bradley and Desmond Trotter that helped him become the player he is today.
He's great when he came in. I talked to both of those guys before he came in and was like, listen, man, you're a senior Carter, you're a senior Des. Like, this is kind of your last, like, parting gift. Like, you know, we got 12 games, let's go win them all. But, like, help, you know, you can see what our future is, right? You know, like, just impart whatever it is. We spent 2 years together, Carter. We spent 3 years together, Des. Like, whatever it is that you can just kind of help the young freshman with. And, you know, to Gio's credit, there's some guys that aren't as open, you know, to hearing that. Sometimes there's some insecurities or a little bit worried about how they're going to pan out in college. So there's kind of a little bit of this false front. And, you know, he came in and everything Des and Carter were doing was helpful, I thought. And I thought, he's very observant too, in terms of just kind of picking up on the vibe and the mood of the room and just kind of the flow of the coaches, just very astute in terms of how to fit in and then, gravitate towards the accomplishers on the team. And it was a great year. I mean, he developed greatly, and a lot of it was to those two guys' credit because they took it seriously. And you saw last year when he had to go in against Troy, he belonged.
Yeah.
He didn't stick out like, who's this guy? So that's his work, and how hard he works, and then those two guys trying to help him. And we're fortunate enough to get Des back. Des is actually in our program now. So just kind of, having good guys like that to help mentor our players is huge.
It's an amazing thing when you can get a guy who's just been in the locker room to be one of the people that's there to mentor you.
Yeah, no, he's great. I'll let Gio talk about him.
Des honestly is he was kind of like a big brother for me when I got here. Just helped me a lot. I think actually probably going to be living with me for a couple of days until he gets his apartment down here. So it's awesome to have him here.
Yeah, it'll probably be some lifetime memories for the few days. And is he going to be living with you leading up to this opener against North Texas?
Whenever he has to get out.
He just got back from an internship in Indianapolis. He was with the Colts. And so he just left the Colts on the 21st to start a job here on the 23rd or 24th, I believe. And so getting back into an apartment and it's kind
of saying, it's funny timing.
It's reverse roles, right? I mean, instead of the freshman bumming a couch with the seniors, it's the young professional bumming the couch with the redshirt freshman.
Yeah, but I just find it especially funny because you're preparing for your first game, leading the team as a starter, and here's this guy that's your mentor just kind of hanging out on the couch.
Yeah.
Days you're getting ready for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome to see those two guys. And I hate that Carter was injured, in the bowl game, but it was awesome to see those two guys, their relationship build, and then them go play together in the bowl game and just absolutely just have a day, have an absolute day.
And Carter had put on tape.
Oh, yeah.
He had put on tape what he needed to show to be able to get the opportunities gotten.
And everybody won, didn't they? We got a Raider, we got a starter, we got Desmond back helping our team. It's a good thing.
Next, Gio talks about the connection that he feels to the city of Mobile, Alabama after only a short time living there.
I mean, I'm not even from here, but I feel like I'm bought into Mobile. I've been to the schools. I've seen high school games. It's just just trying to have everybody just come through games and just buy in the South is it's really special. You got people I've met that say they know everything about me. I'm like, oh man, okay, yeah, it's pretty cool. So you have a lot of people that love it here. So
that's based off of just a few games.
Yeah.
You'll really see, you start to pile up wins, and I'm sure you saw it at Houston. All of a sudden, a lot more people take notice.
No doubt. There was a very similar vibe in Houston. There was a lot of Longhorns, Aggies, Red Raiders, Baylor Bears, Horned Frogs, Bengal Tigers. But at the end of the day, every Houstonian was fired up that Houston was playing in that Peach Bowl. And I that's the kind of, head goes on the pillow at night dream that I have. I know I'm 46 years old, but I can still dream, and that's what I want for our city. I mean, you can still go to the Iron Bowl, but we're going to play on Friday before that, and hopefully you watch us win our 12th game on that Friday, and then you can take off, to Tuscaloosa or Auburn. I believe the city's up for that challenge, and I know our players are, and they want to go put a product out there, and everybody loves a winner, so it's time for us to go do that and make our city proud.
And they get some contrast in that experience because maybe they do go see that 12th win on that Friday and then go watch the Iron Bowl. And I think what they'll find is there was no experience at the Iron Bowl, whether they're watching it on their couch or they make that drive, that could even come close to what it felt like to go see their hometown team go put up a W.
And that's real. That's real. I mean, I'm not trying to sound any kind of way, but I've experienced that already. I've watched us play Navy on a Friday after Thanksgiving and seen people in the stands with Aggie hats and Longhorn hats. And I'm like, why are they here? Well, they're just Houstonians. They're proud that you've had a heck of a season. If you win this ball game, you're going to a conference game. And if you win that conference game, you're going to make a New Year's Day bowl. And you're right down the road. You're 35 minutes. And so, let's just go over there and watch the Cougs play. So, I mean, I know it's possible. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication by your players and the commitment and everybody to see the same vision and pull in the same direction and understand that it's not easy and there's going to be a lot of pain and struggling through it because you're trying to do something hard. But I know we've got the players and the staff and people to do it.
Prior to the end of the conversation, Major had to leave to go catch a radio interview, and Gio elaborated on how the incredible mentorship he received at USA put him in an incredible position for this season.
I always tell Carter and Des, I was like, I'm going to be better than both of y'all. I hope y'all know that. But it's all with love, of course. So just getting to learn from them was honestly great. Even Tanner McGee, a lot of people don't give him credit. He was here. Tanner helped me a lot too. From the reps that, he was a fourth string guy, and he was awesome for me as well.
What was it from him that you were able to, what was it, something, for example, he was able to impart kind of that last year?
For me, Tanner really helped me, like saying like, yes, football is the main focus. Football is what you're doing. But Tanner helped me notice like, it's not like, you can't just be overbearing with it. Like, you got to get away from it just a little bit. Of course, with the season, it's hard to say, like, get away from football. Like, it's not the deal, but more in the sense of like, hey, like, you are a person besides football. Like, get in the Bible, get away from football just a little bit, just kind of like make sure if you have a bad throw, it doesn't define you. So like Tanner just helped me with my mental side off of football.
And it sounds like you might have been a person, talk about that initial challenge of not playing. He had to experience maybe a lot more of that than you did. Yeah. And I mean that in the best way possible, in the sense that he was probably able to provide a lot of perspective of how to be an effective player on the bench, which is a whole art in itself that you don't learn when you're playing every snap in high school.
Yeah, I mean, Tanner showed me, he was like I just watched him, like, I was like, man, like, my first game when we played Tulane, I was like on the bench, I was just kind of standing there, like, I didn't know what to do, just kind of sitting and looking around, and then I got to see Tanner, and Tanner's like, looking at stuff, and then he's telling, Coach Ezell, and then Coach Ezell's telling Coach Applewhite, so I'm like, oh, like, you can still be beneficial and helpful from the sideline. So getting to see Tanner do that, and like, I was like, okay, like, let me try to do something, try to look for something that can help us in this game.
Yeah, the bench energy is a big part of the game. Yeah. I mean, guys are looking over and they see their fans, but how you guys are able to energize, Carter's gonna have moments in there when you're on the sidelines where sometimes even just hearing encouragement makes a big difference, because as a room you are a unit, right? Yeah,
and honestly, like Troy game, Carter, Tanner, and Des were all there. Like there was a play I got hit, man. I was like, oh jeez, man. And I walked to the sideline and Tanner kind of like, hey, like, you're good. You're good. Des are all picking me up, and I was like, in that moment, I was like, I am good. Like, I got this. I'm good. So, like, it's always helpful to have a supportive guy on the sideline for you.
Pretty hard first test to get to go into the game against one of the most challenging teams in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, it was. They're, I think, statistically one of the best defenses in the Sun Belt. So, like, I was like, man, this is quite the first game for me. So it was a great experience, though. I mean, I got to learn a lot from it. I got to be like, okay, like this is what's going to take. Like, I mean, they're Sun Belt champions. I got to see what Sun Belt championship team looked like. So I was like, okay, that's what we got to do.
You mentioned when you're talking about learning to kind of embrace football off the field, that going in and opening a Bible might be something that helps you. How has faith been able to be a positive factor in your football career?
It's been really helpful. I mean, Tanner, I kind of got more into it this year. We have a guy on our staff named Justin. He's been super beneficial for me. He has these little books I get to read, just making it easier for me just to get it in. You get so caught up in your playbook, you're like, oh, so I can't pick up the other book. But it's been helpful for me just thinking like football is not who I am. It's something I do and I love, but just not putting all of my like who I am as a person into that. Like, God got me, he's just kind of, he's always there for me. He's never going to let me down. So just kind of, he's always been beneficial. Just knowing that, hey, like he's got me.
Is there a moment that you had over these past few months where you're able to get in that book and something just struck you so perfectly that really got you back to where you needed to be?
There was a moment I've had a couple, like I was away from home. I'm very family oriented. I love my family, and I mean, they're 5 hours away. So it's kind of just, I got really down. Like I was just like, man, like something's not right. So it's getting able to get into the books, like the little books. I was kind of looking at the Bible like, man, like this book's a big book. Like I don't know how to, like, what do I need to read? What do I need to read? So having Justin be able to just give me those little books that kind of just cover small, just easy things, and they ask you questions on the side of like,
that's cool.
So then you get to like kind of, okay, let me rethink through this. So it was a lot.
So it's not just reading. They got
questions,
some kind of journal prompts where you're able to go and not just digest words, but it's able to ask you, how does this make you feel? Can you give me examples of some of the questions, what they would be?
One of the questions, like you'll read a scripture and then it'll just kind of ask you like, how does that apply in your life? Or how can you benefit from this scripture? Or how can you like put that into your situation? So it was just a lot of those.
It's so valuable.
Yeah.
Because so many times we just go through the motions, read something just to read it, say we did it. I think especially in something like faith, where a lot of people want to be able to go on social media in this day and age and say, Bible's really important to me.
Yeah.
I read it today. Here's a verse that I like. But having a process that makes you stop and really ask yourself, how does this apply to my life right now?
Uh-huh.
what's the way that I can go make this benefit me in a positive way? So if you look at that whole run, do you remember one of the scriptures in particular that you sat down and you're like, wait, this really is something that I can...
Yesterday we were talking, and it was Psalms. We were just talking about how there was this, during that whole scripture, it's talking about how he's like kind of, upset. Like he's questioning stuff. And at the end, he's like, you know what? God got me. God's got me. No matter what's going on, like God's got me. And I was like, all right, like, so there's like yesterday kind of sticks out to me because I needed that yesterday.
8 months to go and show everybody what you worked on. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a lot of pressure, but then you just realize, like, at the end of the day, it's a game. A lot of people get away from that. They're just like, it's a game. It's a kid's game. Like, Coach Applewhite used to tell me that, like, it's a kid's game, man. Just have fun. You get so caught up in social media and trying to, just do everything right. I'm like, it's a game I'm playing with my friends. Like, I'm playing, all these guys on your teams are like, like your brothers. So you're playing, like, you get to watch them play. They're having fun. It's awesome.
One thing that I love about watching Gio Lopez play is how much fun he has on the field every game, and can't wait to continue to watch him do so through the rest of his college career and a very successful NFL career after that. If you enjoyed this conversation and want to hear more conversations with elite college football quarterbacks, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you can be here with us for our next episode.